Good afternoon, children. Welcome to next class of botany. Now, in the previous class, we started studying about the types of inflorescence based on the branching pattern and their characters. So, based on this, we have studied there are four types of inflorescence in plants based on the branching pattern. They are indeterminate or racemose, determinate or cymose, mixed inflorescence, and special inflorescence. In the last class, we studied in detail about the indeterminate or racemose inflorescence. Today, we are going to study about the cymose inflorescence and mixed inflorescence and special inflorescence. So first, let's study about the cymose inflorescence. The cymose inflorescence we have studied, that is the central axis or the inflorescence axis. The growth of this axis is limited by the growth of a flower. Okay, the growth of the central axis is limited by the growth of a flower. Okay, to stop the growth of this axis, a flower is born there. Next, from the bracts, these are the bracts. From the bracts, next the flowers arise. So in this plant, the oldest flower is on the top and the young flowers are at the base. This type of inflorescence, we call it as the cymose inflorescence. So let's study about the different types of cymose inflorescence. So here we have studied cymose inflorescence. The central axis stops growing and ends in a flower. Further, growth is by means of axillary buds. Axillary buds, that is in the side and the bracts, the small buds which are present, those buds they are developing. Old flowers present at apex, that is at the top, and the young flowers are at the base. Now cymose flowers, they are classified into four different types: simple cyme, monocacial cyme. Monocacial cyme, they are of two types, helicoid and scorpioid. Next, simple dicaseum and polycacial cyme. So let's study each one in detail. Now simple cyme, solitary. Determinate inflorescence axis, that is the inflorescence axis has a limited growth. Consists of a single flower. The growth of the inflorescence axis is limited by the growth of a single flower at the apex. It may be terminal or axillary. So as we have studied, based on the position where the flower is arranged in the plant, it can be terminal, that is on the topmost portion of the stem or the plant, and axillary, that is at the leaf base. An axillary bud develops. From that axil, a short axil develops, and that axil it bears the flower. So it may be terminal or axillary. Example, terminal in Trillium grandiflorum, and axillary you can find in hibiscus. So this is the simple cyme, that is solitary, that is inflorescence axis is limited by a single flower, growth of a single flower. This flower can be at the terminal position of the plant or it can be in the axillary. Next we are going to study about the monocacial, or it is also called as uniparous. The main axis ends with the flower. From two lateral bracts, only one branch grows further. It may be helicoid or scorpioid. So let's understand this with this diagram here. Now here, this is the inflorescence axis. The inflorescence axis growth is limited by a flower. Now on this inflorescence axis, these are the bracts are present there. Two bracts are present at different sides. Now here, from only one bract, the branching takes place or an axil develops. Okay, so here only from one branch grows, and the growth of this branch is limited by a flower. Okay, next again on this branch there is a bract is present. Again from the bract another branching takes place, and the growth of that branch is also limited by a flower. So this what is happening, from the two bracts only from the one bract the branching is taking place, then it is called as the monocacial cyme. So a monocacial cyme is what? That is, the growth of the inflorescence axis is limited by the growth of a flower. Or from the two among the two bracts present on this inflorescence axis, only from one bract the branching will be taking place. So based on that, it is classified into two types, helicoid and scorpioid. So let's study what is helicoid. Now helicoid, the inflorescence axis limited by a growth of a flower. Among the two bracts, only one bract, the branching is taking place, and this branching, further branching will take place only in one direction. So suppose if we say right side, only the branching is taking place. Next, from this branch also bears the bract. In the bract present in this branching also, in the right side the next branching will take place. In that branching, growth is also limited by the flower. The bract present on this branch will also gives rise to the another branch, which is also again in the right side. So only in the one side the branching is taking place, then it is called as the helicoid. This is called as the helicoid monocacial sign. Next, scorpioid sign. Scorpioid is what? The growth of the inflorescence axis is limited by the growth of a flower. The two bracts are present there on the inflorescence axis. Among the two bracts, only one from one bract, the branching is taking place. First, it is suppose if it is taking place in the right side, the growth of this branching is limited by the flower. Next, on this branching also the bract is present there. From the bract, next it will be in the left side. Again from this branching, the bract will arise. From the bract, another branch will take place in the right. Next again in the left. So zigzag pattern it is taking place. This is called as the scorpioid monocacial sign. So here you have studied in monocacial sign, only among the two, from the two bracts, only from one bract the branching will be taking place. If the branching is taking place only in one direction, then we'll call it as helicoid. If it is taking place in alternate directions, then we call it as scorpioid. Okay, let's understand with the explanation given here. So helicoid axis develops on only one side and forms a coil structure. So here only one side the branching is taking place. As a result, it will give a coil like structure, at least at the earlier developmental stage. Example, Hamelia potato plant. Scorpioid axis develops on alternate sides and often becomes a coiled structure. Example, Heliotropium. So here it may be understood for you. Helicoid sign, that is the growth of the inflorescence axis is limited by the flower. Next, branching will be taking place from the bract, that will always be in the same direction, then we call it as helicoid. If the branching is taking place in alternate sides, then we call it as scorpioid sign. Next, let's study about the simple dichasium or biparous. That is, a central axis ends in a terminal flower. Further, growth is produced by two lateral buds. Okay, so here that is from the inflorescence axis, from the two bracts the lateral buds grows. Each cymose unit consists of 3 flowers. So in each cymose there are 3 flowers are present there, of which central one is the old one. This is a true cyme. Example, jasminum. You can find in the jasmine plant. So here you can see in this diagram here. So the C diagram you can see, this is the inflorescence axis limited by the growth of the flower. On the inflorescence axis the two bracts are there. From the bracts the lateral branching is taking place. So here the oldest flower is at the center and the young flower at the side. Okay, so here this is called as the simple dichasium. Di means two, monocacial, mono means single. So only one side branching is taking place. Here dichasium, both the sides, on both the bracts the branching is arising. This sign is said to be the true sign. Okay, this is the said to be the true sign, and this is found in the jasmine plant. Next type of cymose inflorescence is compound cyme. It has many flowers. Compound cyme means branching will be more. It has many flowers. A terminal old flower develops lateral simple dicacial sign on both the sides. Each compound dicacium consists of 7 flowers. Example, Sclerodendron. So here you can see in this diagram. Now here, this is the central axis. Growth is limited by the flower. From the two bracts, branching is taking place. Now on each branch, again from the bracts, the branching is taking place. So in this flower, in this branch also, from the bract, the two flowers. So altogether, there are 7 flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 number of flowers is present there on one flower, from arising from one flora inflorescence axis. Then it is called as the compound dicacium. Okay, so there are many flowers. The terminal flower is again the oldest flower, develops lateral simple dicacium. This is the simple dicacium. Now again from the simple dicacium, again the branching is taking place. As a result, altogether in the inflorescence we can find there are 7 flowers are present there. This is called as the compound sign. Next, polycacial sign. So here a small simple dicacium is called as the cymule. Now here this is called as the cymule. Okay, this arrangement, this part, as we said, the central axis. Now from the bract to branching is taking place, lateral branching is taking place, and again from the lateral branches further branching is taking place. So this is called as a cymule. Next, polycacial sign. It is also called as multiparous. The central axis ends with a flower. The lateral axis branches repeatedly. Example, nerium. So here in polycacium side, the lateral axis, they keep on branching. Okay, then it is called as the polycacial sign. You can find this in nerium plant. So here you can see in this diagram, central axis limited by the growth of the flower, branching through lateral branching is there, and from the lateral branching, the lateral branching growth is limited by the flower. Again from the lateral branching, simple dicacium is present there. Okay, that is again branching is taking place, that is limited by the growth of the flower. In that again the lateral branches arises. So they keep on branching. This is called as the polycacial sign. So hope you have understood about the cymose inflorescence. Now next we will study about the mixed inflorescence. Inflorescence in which both racemose and cymose patterns of development occur in a mixed manner. It is of following two types. So here mixed inflorescence, the word itself explains that it consists of both racemose arrangement as well as the cymose arrangement. So there are two types, it is explained. There are tyrsus and verticillaster. Tyrsus is said to be a raceme of cymes. So this you have to remember, racemes of cyme is said to be tyrsus. So here central axis, it will show unlimited growth. Then lateral pedicellate cymes are present there. So here unlimited growth of central axis, this axis will keep on elongating. Next from this, the lateral branches will take place, and this will show the growth of the limited growth. Pedicellate flowers will be present there. So this cymose arrangement you can see. So here again the branching cymose arrangement. So here this axis will keep on elongating. It is not limited, and at the side the lateral branching will take place. So this is called as tyrsus, or it is said to be raceme of cyme. This is representing the racemose and this growth is representing the cymose. So raceme of cymes, this is called as the tyrsus. So this we can find in ocimum. Ocimum, that is the tulsi plant. Next is the verticillaster. Main axis bears two opposite lateral sessile cymes, okay, at the axil of the node, each of which produce monocacial scorpioid lateral branches so that the flowers are crowded around the node. So here this one is representing the tyrsus. Now here you can see this is the central axis, the main axis. From this the branching is taking place. So main axis bears two opposite lateral sessile cymes. Okay, this is the two cymose in branching is present there. at the axil of the node. Now each of it produces the monocacial scarpioid. Monocacial, as we have studied, the branching will take place only in one direction. So here at the axil of the node, each of it produces the monocacial sign. Monocacial scarpioid lateral branches, so that the flowers are crowded around the node. So it is this flowers, they are present in the node. As we know, in the plant, the branching or the leaf arrangement always takes place from the nodal region. So these flowers, they form a cluster in around the nodal region of the stem alone. So this is called as the verticillaster. So this is the main central axis, the cymose arrangement, and from the cymose you can see the monocacial sign. Okay, so this is called as the verticillaster. Next type of inflorescence is the special inflorescence. The inflorescence that do not show any of the development pattern types are classified under the special type of inflorescence. As the name suggests, special inflorescence means the inflorescence is found only in that particular plant. No other plant possesses that same type of inflorescence. Okay, that is a particular pattern is found in some plants. Okay, they cannot be classified under racemose, they cannot be classified under the cymose. So here the different types are, first one you are going to study Cythium inflorescence. Cythium inflorescence consists of a small unisexual flowers enclosed by a common involucre which mimics a single flower. Now here this is the Cythium inflorescence. In appearance we will say this is one single flower. Actually it is not a single flower. This is a involucre of bract, a layer of bracts. Many bracts are present which is forming a cup-like structure. Inside this there are unisexual male, these are the male flowers, and this is the female flower. So numerous male flowers are present and only one female flower is present. This is enclosed, this male flower and the female flower is enclosed by an involucre or cup of bracts. This is called as the Cythium inflorescence. That is the characteristic features of Euphorbiaceae family. So Cythium inflorescence consists of a small unisexual flowers enclosed by common involucre which mimics a single flower. So in appearance it appears like a single flower, but it is not a single flower. There are numerous unisexual flowers are present there. Male flowers are organized in a scarpioid manner. Female flower is solitary and centrally located on a long pedicel. This is the long pedicel. As a result, this female flower is hanging outside. The male flower is represented only by stamens and female flower is represented by a pistil. So here they are all the naked flowers, okay, unisexual naked flowers. That is, they do not have the calyx or corolla. Only the what is present there, only the reproductive parts are present. Stamen represent the male flower and the pistil represent the female flower. Cythium may be actinomorphic or zygomorphic. Actinomorphic or zygomorphic, they are the symmetry found in the plant. Actinomorphic means when a flower can be cut in equal halves, that is two equal halves, any plane, in any side if you cut you will get equal halves, then you will call it as actinomorphic. Zygomorphic means only in one plane if you cut you will get equal halves. Apart from that plane, in any other plane if you cut you will not get equal halves, then it is called as the zygomorphic. So actinomorphic and zygomorphic, they are the symmetry of the plants. So Cythium, this inflorescence, they may be actinomorphic, as in the case of example Euphorbia, or zygomorphic, example Pedilanthes. Nectar is present in the involucre. Inside this involucre, nectar glands are also present. So this is the Cythium inflorescence. Cythium inflorescence is the characteristic features of Euphorbiaceae family. So this is said to be a special inflorescence. The next type of special inflorescence what we are going to study is the Hypanthodium. Okay, in Hypanthodium the receptacle is a hollow globostructure. This we will call it as a hollow globostructure, globe-like structure, consisting of unisexual flowers present in the inner wall of the receptacle. This is the receptacle. Already we have studied receptacle means it is the layer where the other floral parts are arranged. So here receptacle is a hollow globose structure consisting of unisexual flowers present on the inner wall of the receptacle. So inside this the globose is the receptacle is like a globose structure, a round hollow structure. Inner walls they consist of the unisexual flowers are present there. The receptacle is closed, leaving a small opening that is called as the ostiole. So on the top there is a small opening is present there. This opening is called the ostiole, which is covered by a series of bracts. Male flowers are present near to the ostiole. So near in the upper side of the this receptacle or near to the ostiole, we can find the male flowers are present there. Okay, female and the neutral flowers they are found in the mixed manner from middle below. Example, ficus species, that is banyan, fig, people plant. So here towards the upper side you will find the male flowers, and from the middle towards the lower side you can find in mixed pattern the female flower and the neutral flowers are present. Neutral flowers means they are not well developed, they are present from the middle towards the lower side. So this is the hypanthodium. This hypanthodium inflorescence is found in the ficus species. So again this is a characteristic inflorescence of this species. Next is the Cynanthium. Cynanthium inflorescence. Here circular disc like fleshy open receptacle. So here the receptacle is like a circular disc that bears pistillate flowers at the center and staminate flowers at the periphery. So here Cynanthium, the receptacle is like a circular disc. In the center you can find the female flower. A single female flower will be present there and it will be surrounded by the male flowers, that is the represented that only by the stamen. So it is called as the staminate flowers, which is present in the periphery, that is in the boundary. Example for this is the Darstenia. So here we have studied about the different type of inflorescence based on the branching and their pattern. Next we are going to study about the flower and its the sex found in the flower and the symmetry we are going to study. The walls of the flower sex, plant sex as well as flower symmetry. Next we are going to study today. So flower. In a plant, which part would you like the most? So of course the answer is it is the flower because of its color and the fragrance. A flower is a significant diagnostic feature of angiosperms. As we know, angiosperms means flowering plants. So angiosperms they are characterized by the presence of the flower. A flower is defined as it is a modified condensed reproductive shoot. That is, the growth of the shoot is limited or condensed by the growth of a flower. Okay, so as we say it is a modified condensed reproductive shoot. The flower is said to be the reproductive part of the plant because here only the reproductive parts, the androecium and the gynoecium is present there, which involves in the sexual reproduction. The growth of the flower or shoot is determinate. By the growth of the flower, the growth of the shoot is limited. So in the flower, each part we will be studying in detail. So here, first walls of a flower. Walls of a flower, there are two walls, accessory and essential. Accessory walls, now here you can see the parts of the flower. If you see here, now in the flower you can see this is the stem. Okay, now here is the bract. Okay, from the leaf base arises the bract. Now on this is the pedicel. On the pedicel some scaly leaf-like structures are present, that is called the bracteole. Okay, now in the pedicel you can find the flattened structure, that is the thalamus, or it is also called as the receptacle. Okay, next you can find on the thalamus the four walls are present there. So broadly we classify them into two. One is the accessory and the other one is the essential. Accessory means helping walls. So what are the helping walls here? Calyx and corolla. Calyx is made up of the sepals. Group of sepals is called the calyx. Okay, which is the outermost wall. Next is the corolla. The corolla is made up of group of petals. So this is the calyx and the corolla. This calyx and corolla forms the accessory walls. Next, the stamen. The group of stamens, they form the androecium and is the male reproductive part of the plant. Next, there is the gynoecium. It has the three parts: stigma, style, and ovary. So this is called the pistil here. This stamen and pistil, they are called as the essential walls. So here we say there are two walls are there: accessory walls, essential walls. Accessory walls means the helping walls. They are the calyx and corolla. They are the helping walls. Essential walls, that is for the reproduction. The two walls which is important necessary is stamen and pistil. So here there are two walls, accessory and essential. Accessory wall consists of calyx and corolla, and essential wall, they comprises of androecium and gynoecium. A flower is said to be complete when it contains all the four walls. That is, when a flower contains calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. All the four walls are present with the flower. We call it as a complete flower. Now these terms you have to remember, children. For the floral diagram and all, you have to remember this. So here, when a flower is said to be complete, when a flower consists of calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. If any of the wall is missing among these four, if any of the wall is missing, we'll call it as an incomplete flower. An incomplete flower is devoid of one or more walls. If any one wall is missing or two wall is missing, we call it as a incomplete flower. Now in some plants, instead of calyx and corolla, only one wall will be present there. That is called as the perianth. Okay, in some plants, instead of calyx and corolla, around this essential walls, there will be only one accessory wall. That is called as the perianth. The perianth is made up of tepals. Next, you are going to study about the flower sex. So here, flower sex refers to the presence or absence of androecium and gynoecium within a flower. Perfect or bisexual. If a flower contains both androecium and gynoecium, it is called as a perfect flower, or it is said to be a bisexual flower. Bi means two. So both the reproductive organs, that is androecium, the male reproductive part, gynoecium, the female reproductive part, is present. Then we will call it as a perfect or bisexual flower. Imperfect or unisexual. When the flower contains only one essential wall, that is either the androecium is present in the flower or gynoecium is present in the flower, we call it as an imperfect flower, or we call it as a unisexual. Uni means one, only one reproductive part is present. If only the androecium is present, we call it as a staminate flowers. Flowers with androecium alone is called as a staminate flower. Pistillate flowers, flowers with gynoecium alone, is called as a pistillate flowers. So here you can see in this diagram, this is the calyx, corolla. Okay, next this is the androecium, this is the gynoecium. So this is a complete flower. Now in this flower, both the androecium and gynoecium is present. We call it as a bisexual flower. Now in this we can find that is calyx, corolla, and only the androecium is present. Then we call it as a male flower, or we call it as a staminate flower. Now here you can see if only the gynoecium is present, we call it as a female flower, or we call it as a pistillate flower. Next we are going to study about the plant sex. Now based on the reproductive organs also, the plant sex is being classified. Plant sex refers to the presence and distribution of flowers with different sexes in an individual plant. Hermaphroditic. All the flowers of the plant are bisexual. So in a plant, if all the flowers are bisexual, that is both the androecium and gynoecium is present in the same flower, then that plant is said to be hermaphrodite or hermaphroditic. Next, monoecious. When in a single plant, the male and the female flowers are present in the same plant, then we call it as monoecious. Mono, single. So in the same plant, both the male flower is present and female flower is present, then we call it as monoecious. So here you can see here the example. Now this is a plant. The male flower is present separately, female flower is present, that is unisexual male and female flowers are present but in the same plant, then we call it as monoecious. Dioecious, male and female flowers are present on separate plant. So here you can see this is one plant just having only the gynoecium. So this is a female plant. Okay, female flower is present there in this plant. Now here in the same species another plant where only the androecium is present. So in this plant only the female flower is present, in this plant only the male flower is present. Then this is called as the dioecious. Male and the female flowers are present in separate plants. Example papaya, palmyra. So here they are said to be the dioecious. Polygamous. The next type is the polygamous. The condition in which bisexual and unisexual flowers occur in a same plant is called as the polygamous. So polygamous is what? Here you can see in the same plant, female flower is there, male flower is there and bisexual flower is present there. So in the same plant, female flower, unisexual flower, male flower, again a unisexual flower and a bisexual there. In the same flower you can find androecium and gynoecium is present. So when this type of arrangement is seen, female flower, male flower and bisexual flower in the same plant, then we call it as polygamous. This polygamous is we can find in Musa as well as in Mangifera. So plant sex, hope it is clear for you. Hermaphroditic. Hermaphroditic means in all the flowers of the plant they are bisexual. We call it as hermaphroditic. Monoecious means unisexual flowers are present. That is male flower and female flowers they are separate but they are present in the same plant. We call it as monoecious. Dioecious, male flower is present in one plant, female flower is present in another plant, that is male and the female flowers are present separate plants, then it is called as the dioecious. Polygamous, when the bisexual and the unisexual flowers they are present in the same plant, that is the bisexual flower will be there, male flower will be there and female flower will be present in the same plant, then it is called as the polygamous. Next we are going to study about the flower symmetry. So here you know what is a flower symmetry. A flower is symmetrical when it is divided into equal halves in any plane running through the center. So suppose this is a flower, through the center if we cut, any plane if you cut you will get equal halves, then it is called as the symmetry. A flower is symmetrical when it is divided into equal halves in any plane running through the center. Flower symmetry is an important structural adaptation related to pollination systems. So there are three types of symmetry we can say: actinomorphic or radial or polysymmetric. Next zygomorphic, or it is called as bilateral symmetry or monosymmetry. And then last one is asymmetry or heteromorphic. So first let's study actinomorphic. The flower shows two mirror images when cut in any plane or radius through the center. Normally there are more than two planes of symmetry. So here you can see example in hibiscus or datura. If you cut the flower in this plane, if you cut you will get equal halves. In this plane you will get equal halves. In this plane if you cut you will get equal halves. So any plane if you cut you will get equal halves, then it is called as actinomorphic. Zygomorphic, if you cut only in this plane, if you cut the flower you will get the symmetry. Okay, next if apart from this plane, in this plane if you are cutting you will not get the symmetry, then this is called as zygomorphic. So zygomorphic, the flower can be divided into two equal halves in only one plane. Zygomorphic flower can efficiently transfer pollen grains to visiting pollinators. Example pisum, bean. Asymmetric there in that flower there is no symmetry is found. In no plane you can cut the flowers in equal symmetry, then we call it as asymmetric. Flower lacks any plane of symmetry and cannot be divided into equal halves in any one plane. Parts of such flowers are twisted. Example, Canna indica. So here flowers lacks any plane of symmetry and they cannot be divided into equal halves in any plane. Parts of such flowers they are twisted, then it is called as the asymmetry. So flower symmetry we have studied. There are three types: actinomorphic, zygomorphic, asymmetry. In any plane if you cut the flower you will get equal halves, then we call it as actinomorphic. In only one plane we get the symmetry. Apart from this plane no other symmetry is found in this plane, in this flower, then we call it as zygomorphic. Next is the asymmetry. There is no plane, in none of the plane you can get equal halves, then we call it as asymmetrical. Hope children you have understood all the topic taught today. We'll continue with the next topic in the next class. Thank you children.